Paul, thanks for coming back on. Let's talk about the Asia Pacific Down Syndrome Federation Games, the first ever games. You was in attendance over in India. What was that like for you?
It was amazing. I mean, just to give a sort of pre-context there, a lot of people know me for my writing in sports. But before that, for 10 years, I was a business development director of the Down Syndrome Association in the UK. And through that, I met an amazing family called the Ramachandrans, and we kept friends. And then a few years later, they set up the Asia Pacific Down Syndrome Federation, asked me if I could still sort of help, I guess, from sort of an advisory capacity. And yeah, I mean, there's a certain irony there. They're asking me to sort of help them, and I've learned so much just by being in the slipstream of this amazing organisation. And last year, Rekha, she sort of said, "I've got this idea to have the first ever Asia Pacific Down Syndrome Federation Games," and she's just a sensational person. She really is. What she does for people in India, with that's a population in there, 1.5 billion people, and there's a high number of people with Down syndrome, and she goes along to far-flung parts where they haven't got electricity, flowing water, etc., and goes and helps them out and helps them to understand what Down syndrome is. So to have the opportunity to get people from all over India and the Asia Pacific region, which is a lot of countries, was phenomenal. So yeah, I went out there. I mean, flying visit. I landed on the 28th of January, and the 29th it started, and I I ended up by getting involved on the day with everything from presenting medals to certificates to even doing the old sort of clapper, this is wooden clapper start. It was, instead of having a gun there, which just scared the shit out of everybody, it was this sort of clapper thing, which was much better. So, but the start of it was fantastic. There was like an Olympic style torture in the Nehru Stadium, which is a gigantic stadium. I'm not sure how many tens of thousands of people it holds, but it's a mega stadium. I wish QPR had it, to be honest. I wish QPR had half of it, to be honest. But so yeah, so at the beginning of the day, there was Bubbly, who is the daughter of Rami and Rekha. And just to say a bit of context about Rami as well, his involvement with sport. He was the Indian Olympic Association president for a term, World Squash Federation president there for 2 terms. His involvement in sport has been phenomenal, especially with squash. Has been sensational. Anyway, their daughter Bubbly, who has Down syndrome, was the person who walked over to the Olympic flame and lit it to start the games. And she was flanked by 1968 Olympic bronze medalist Munir Sait, who also helped to light the flame, and also Mr. Meghanath Reddy, who's the member secretary of the Sports Development Authority at Tamil Nadu, and also a two-time world champion Joshna Shipna, who's 39 and still looks absolutely as fit as a fiddle. She's still totally immersed into competitive squash. I think so, like 4 times Commonwealth champion as well. And she's known the Ramachandran family for years, and in the early days, Rami and Rekha were great supporters. So she attended and wanted to give something back, certainly to help with the very first ever, the inaugural games here. And it was phenomenal. You know me, James, like yourself, we speak to some of the toughest guys in boxing. And we've also stepped out of the remit of just boxing and everything from athletics to football, you name it. And I've witnessed some of the most amazing comebacks in a boxing ring, on the track, etc. But the the resilience, the determination, the strength of mind for these guys with Down syndrome to excel was phenomenal. I saw a number of people who were doing the roller skating absolutely flying around that track. I mean, bloody hell, I'd have been on my ass within the first second and a half. And these guys flew off, took off single, what they call like rail roller blades, and then some of them with more sort of traditional roller skates. And I remember one guy, he smashed, I think it was a 300-meter circuit, came through the finishing line, and then about 5 meters later, as he was just sort of doing the come down, ended up flying, ended up on his ass, picked himself up, and just carried on. Nothing had happened. There was another person who was doing the sprints, fell down, went face forward, picked himself up, and still managed to cross the line and win the race. and he was absolutely covered in grazes and cuts and bruises and bloodied up and did not give a shit. He went through then and he was a bit emotional once he got through, as we all were, to be honest. It was literally like, chuck a bit of Sears I'm Unstoppable music on top of it, and it was quite a sort of emotional moment. So it was amazing. For people who don't know much about Down syndrome, it's the presence of an extra chromosome, what's called a trisomy. So instead of having two chromosomes, there's three on there, and it's on the 21st chromosome. So that's why World Down Syndrome Day occurs on the 21st of March, 21-3. It's because of that trisomy chromosome in there, and there's a range of abilities on there for people with Down syndrome in sport. And I was very fortunate during my time at the Down Syndrome Association to help set up football for people with Down syndrome. And this year in 2026 will be the 20th anniversary when I helped set up Fulham Football Club's Down syndrome team. And since then, there's been Queen's Park Rangers in 2008. Crikey, the list goes on and on. Charlton have a load. West Ham have a load of teams, and then tennis, etc., etc. So, with all of this sport and with all of my passion for sport for people with learning disabilities, so I've got a brother with learning disability who lives in a care home 24/7 with sort of quite heavy needs. It was amazing to have been a part of these games in Chennai in southern India, and it's something we'd like to host every 2 years. And I'm sure that from a few hundred people in support there and a few hundred people competing, we'd like to start thinking about filling up stadiums in years to come. So to be able to also thank you as well, James, that you've given us the opportunity to be able to talk about this and let other people know is a real honour. So thank you.
No, pleasure, mate. No, not at all. You mentioned earlier about emotions. What was the whole trip like for you to witness this? Because it's, I suppose the power of sport is it doesn't matter who you are, what if you're disabled or not. It's the power of sport. It brings the togetherness. You mentioned the names that were in attendance. Olympic medalists from 1968. These big stars and role models around India to these kids as well. What was it like for you to be part of it, and how, I suppose, emotional and how powerful was it?
Powerful, extremely powerful. I mean, there was another race where there was a girl who was barely able to stand on her feet. She was on the roller skates and was taking forever to get around. And the guys from the Special Olympics were from Pondicherry, which is further south of Chennai. Most of them volunteers, and they came up and basically cheered this girl along, helped to balance her. And I'll tell you what, there was not a dry eye when it came to the finishing line. There was hundreds of people there, everyone cheering her on. It was amazing, absolutely amazing. It really was. And see, sport for anybody, whether you've got learning disability or no disability, doesn't really matter. Sport is sport for whoever participates in it. And the reason we do sport is for four reasons. It is for physical, it's for developmental strands. It's physical development. It is social development, meeting other people, so important. Mental development, your mental health improves so much when you're involved in sport. And then there's technical, whichever sporting strand you choose, whether it's running, whether it's football, whether it's boxing, whatever, you improve technically as well. You chuck those four areas of development into a melting pot and you get better and better and better, and you feel so much better about yourself as well. And that all culminated at these games. You could see the amount of effort people put in there and the nerves at the starting line and then the joy at the finish as well. It's what sport's all about. Sport brings out the absolute best in everybody. And these games prove that yet again.
We talk about emotion, talked about pride, your pride of being involved in this.
Oh, incredibly proud. I mean, it's like, how can I put it? When you're proud about sport and you're proud about people with learning disabilities being able to prove people wrong. And again, and it all comes together in one day. It is like literally watching a movie, but you're part of it, and it's just phenomenal. You're looking at the parents, the nerves they got. It was like watching Sunday League football. All the parents wanted to be by the track and come on the track, and you've got the guys for the Special Olympics sort of saying, "Guys, you need you need to back off it. Let your kids do the business here." And there was different age groups. It was male, you had female. Some was ability. but the parents were there chirping away, literally like Sunday league football. They're the ones you got to keep under control. Because at the end of the day, they're not the ones running. They're not the ones having to skate or swim or throw the shot put or whatever other events are on there. So, yeah, it was a hell of a lot of emotions and roller coaster for both the parents, those in attendance, and also more than anything, the competitors themselves who did phenomenally well. On this day, the first day when we're at the track there, the Nehru Stadium, there was a lot of athletes, top grade athletes who were training, and you could see them sprinting up and down looking like Noah Lyles. It was phenomenal to see, and many times you'd see them stopping and looking at what the guys with Down syndrome are doing, and I think you could just kind of gather that they were appreciating effort. Class appreciates class, and they realised that these guys were, in a worthy class of great appreciation. So, yeah, it was so emotional, but that emotion, when channeled in the right way, can do amazing things. And thankfully, it all came together phenomenally well between the 2 days, which was yeah, it was a great template. A lot of stuff learned that we'll push into the future, just organisational little bits and pieces. But one thing we'll certainly build on is that anybody who saw um, these games will certainly want and didn't take part will certainly want to be taking part in 2 years' time.
Talked about Rekka and Rami. Obviously, they're the driving force behind this. Talk to me about them as role models.
Oh, incredible! Rec in particular with people with Down syndrome. I call her the Mother Teresa of. You've got Mother Teresa Calcutta. I've got a Mother Teresa of the whole of India and beyond. So I've known her to go to the most far flung parts of the world. Even someone sends an email, bang, she's on a plane and she'll go there and just try and help and educate. And Rami, with what he's done in terms of furthering sport within India, squash in particular, some of the stuff that he's done from the beginning, it's just been phenomenal. So, and his desire to get sport from in India and even Asia in general more on the map for many years is hard to quantify. It really is. So there's a lot of people within the world of sport who know him for what he's achieved there, and within the world of learning disability in Down syndrome in particular. Everybody knows Rekha Ramachandran. She is an absolute saint of a woman. There should be a movie made about her. Honestly, mate, it's what she has done is it'd be very, very difficult for anybody to get close.
That's phenomenal work. And just finally, Paul, tell me about, obviously you mentioned hoping to get these games on every 2 years. To your knowledge, what's the aim and the hope, or for you as involved in the first one, what's your hope for the games?
Certainly, we'll get more countries involved going forward. I think everyone's obviously a bit hesitant to be part of the first anything. Um, there was, I think, 190 competitors purely from India. We had a really good turnout from Singapore, Bhutan, which is a far-flung country. Quite difficult for them to come over. And they could participate. They had the guys from Bhutan dressed up in some lovely outfits. We've got almost 30 countries in the Asia Pacific region, and there's about 40 odd within the Asia Pacific region. And we'd like to get, damn it, near to that 40 mark as possible. Get countries from Australia, New Zealand, Tasmania, etc. We had Sri Lanka that was part of it this year as well. I can't remember, forgive me for remembering all the countries that participated, but the point being that we'd like to get as many as possible. We'd also like to get, we haven't yet decided on where the next venue will be. We haven't got into discussions for that yet, but I don't think that's going to be difficult because with everyone having seen how well it's gone this year, I think that we'll have people chomping at the bit to want to host it for the next time round. So, yeah, at the moment, to make this happen for next time, we want more countries, more competitors, more spectators, and yeah, chuck that all together. And I think we're on the right tracks.
Absolutely. That's the last question I have for you, Paul. Anything you want to add at all, mate?
No, that's it. And once again, James, thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to let people know about these amazing games and to let people know with Down syndrome and any learning disability that if you've got that desire, you've got that passion, that love for doing anything sporting, don't let anybody tell you can't. Just get stuck in.
No, absolutely, Paul. Thank you very much for letting us know about the games, informing us, and all the best of luck for the future with it.
Thank you very much, mate.